I'd like to introduce Aaron Krawitz, CEO of Bravo Capital.
How are you doing tonight, Shaq?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Doing great. So let's start with some business questions.
Okay.
You own Reebok, Barney's, Brooke Brothers, and brands and likenesses for Marilyn Monroe, Muhammad Ali, and Elvis. What's the strategy behind unlocking and licensing some of the world's most iconic brands?
Well, I wish I could say I own those by myself. I have partners, and I just teamed up with the partners. You know, for me, it's always been about relationships, and I wanted to invest in things that's always going to change people's lives.
And you invest in what you know. You have a story about, not advertising for Wheaties. What's the background there?
So after we won our first championship in Los Angeles, Wheaties contacted, LA fans there. So, Wheaties is the breakfast of champions. So Wheaties contacted my agency, and they wanted me to be on the cover of Wheaties, and I turned them down. And my agent was very upset. He said, how can you turn down the breakfast of champions? Growing up, we couldn't afford Wheaties. We never ate that. So I told my guy, I said, I can't do Wheaties, but contact Frosted Flakes. Contact Fruit Loops. Contact Fruity Pebbles. So we contacted Frosted Flakes. They declined. Second championship, Wheaties came back. I said, I can't do it. Told my guys, call them again. Third time decline. When I was here in Miami, Wheaties went behind my back and did a deal with the NBA. And then me and D Wade was on the cover. But finally, I think 2 years ago, I finally got my deal with Frosted Flakes, and I think I put out 5 million boxes.
And how did you choose your financial advisor, Lester?
Because he was a nice Jewish man. No, for me, whenever people say things that are too good to be true, very reluctant to do business with him. So he, couple guys came in, I can make you a billionaire by 25, I could do this, I could do that. I didn't really know anything about business. I wanted somebody that was going to teach me. And then Lester Nispo was representing my favorite rap group, NWA. So my father asked me, he said, what do you do? He said, hey, I'm young in the business, I'm just starting. I represent music labels, I represent NWA. And I was like, Eazy-E and Ice Cube? And I told my mom, I'm signing with him. And I've been with him 35 years.
It's fantastic. And what would you say your best business advice was that you ever received?
Was from another Jewish fella. You have a piece of paper? I need a piece of paper. Thank you, brother. Ochi, that's his name? Oh, Manchi. So I was talking to this fella, because when I came in, I didn't know much about financial literacy. So I went from a guy who couldn't buy a full-course meal to a guy who had 50 million in one day. I didn't know what to do with it. So I was talking to a Jewish fella, and he said, real wealthy people, it's not how much you make, it's about how much you keep. And I said, explain. So he said, if you have $100 and you rip it in half, you got 50. Some people put the 50 away and you got 50 left. He said, if you save 50 and spend 50, then you're rich. He said, if you want to become wealthy, the 50 that you got, take that in half. Save that. He said, but this, whatever you want to do. So once I heard that, I started saving 75% of my earnings, and with the other 25%, I was able to do what I like. So that was a great lesson for me, because without little lessons and without seeing other people fail, I don't know where I would be.
And Shaq, few people in this room know that you're actually Dr. Shaquille O'Neal, and you presented a very thoughtful kind of dissertation presentation about humor being used as a leadership tool. Could you tell this crowd about that?
So my dissertation was the duality of humor and seriousness in leadership styles. I was anxious to see which leader was more effective, the humorous leader or the serious leader, because, you know, I'm very big on leadership, and I just wanted to know. But during my research, I found out that no one person is 100% of something. So, for example, I'm 70% humorous, 30% serious when I lead. Pat Riley, the guy who I play for, he's 90-10. He's 90% serious and 10% humorous. So, you know, both can be effective, but I think in a longer period of time, humorous comes out. You know, like if you're a humorous leader and, you affect people in the right way, you can lead a little bit longer than working with a serious leader.
And your mom has been very supportive of the healthcare industry, and your mom was the first ambassador to Lighthouse. What message do you have for all of the healthcare professionals in this room and on the front lines?
I just want to say thank you. You know, in this world we live in, people support a lot of false heroes. I think people that are definitely in healthcare, people that are in the military, police officers that do the right thing, teachers, people like that should definitely be celebrated. So I just say, thank you to all the healthcare people.
Yeah, actually, big Knicks fan in the 90s.
The Knicks suck, but that's okay. It's all right.
Big Patrick Ewing fan.
Patrick Ewing sucks too.
Big Pat Riley fan.
Pat, I love you.
And my two kids play basketball, and something I mention to them sometimes is what your dad told you. You might not like my methods, you'll like my results, and try to get them to believe in resilience and powering through. And I think it's not just a basketball message, but I think it's a business message. I think one of the things you're most underappreciated for is playing through injury, powering through. Could you tell this audience about that?
Well, I just, one time my father took me to a game, and when I was in high school, and the players didn't really represent well, and he was very upset. His message was, if all these people pay premium money to watch you play, make sure you put on a show. And if you can walk and run, then you can play. So I had to learn how to play through pain, because, especially when I played here in Miami, it wasn't about me, it was about all the people who came in to watch us play. A franchise that was almost there but never got there. Myself and D-Wade and Alonzo, we had the ability to get there. We did get there and we win. So whenever I played, I played for the people. And, speaking of kids, one of my kids are mad at me now because I try to not really bribe them, but like motivate them. So I said, brother, if you get all A's, you can get whatever you want. So he gets all A's, and I get a call from the Tesla dealership that my son wants to get the top of the line Tesla. So I called my son, I said, what are you doing? He said, Dad, you said I can get whatever car I want. I said, you better take your ass to Honda. I'm not buying no Tesla. I know what I said, but you didn't read the fine print. You gotta look at the contract, son. Tesla, I ain't buying you no Tesla. Were you a Tesla dealer? All right. I stand up. Whenever you see me, I do this. I'm all about peace. I understand people. I understand religion. And who am I to say, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that? I've never been like that. If you're nice and respectful to me, I'm nice and respectful to you. And I'm 50 years old. We should be in a world where we can just live together, eat together, have fun together, and just no problems. That's the type of world I want to see. I don't want to see people this and that. I don't have time for that.
And how is your upbringing and having moved around and being,
I was programmed not to make 2 mistakes in a row. And when you're a military brat, first thing your father teaches you is respect. So I know how to say shalom. I know how to say ni hao to Chinese people. I know how to say salam alaikum. I'm a man of all people. And again, just because I'm very successful doesn't make me better than you.
Okay, we're going to take the script We're going to throw it to the side.
Yes, thank you.
And we're going to bring the heat for Shaq right
There you
now.
go.
Okay, Shaq. Who is the toughest player you ever played against?
Nobody. Because, for me, I was blessed to be there. I was happy to be there. But when you come from nothing and you gain into something, it was my job to keep that something. So every time I played for my mother's house. Nobody's going to take my mother's house away. Ever. Ever.
How did the Pistons and Ben Wallace beat you in the finals?
Because they had a better... Shut up. They had a better team. As you can recall, there was a lot going on that year. And it was the time where, Laker management had to, make a decision. Do they want to pay the guy that's getting older maximum dollar, or do they want to start all over with the young guy? And they decided to start all over with the young guy. But one thing I always understood was business. That's why when I knew they was trading me, I said, okay, I'll allow you to trade me, but you have to send me to Miami. Because after we lost, I saw the young D. Wade, and I realized I could never do it by myself. I needed a player that was similar to Kobe, and I knew I could raise D. Wade to a Kobe status.
How many championships would you have won with Penny if you didn't split up with him?
I know one, but I think I made the best decision. Because when I first got to LA, the greatest thing Jerry West did was he made me look up at all the retired jerseys. He said, I know you're into a lot of things, business and rapping and movies, and I know Kazam sucked, don't worry about it. He said, but at the end of all of this, if you play like I know you can play and win championships, your name could be retired up there with the greats. And that was all the motivation I need.